Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the players onto court for our women's final. Our first player onto court is from England, seeded 5'8" for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships. Please welcome Jasmine Hutton. Her opponent and compatriot is a former British national champion and is top seed for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships. Please welcome Sarah Jane Perry.
Half time.
Welcome to the AJ Bell National Squash Championships 2020 finals day. And first up we have the women's final. It's between Jasmine Hutton, 5-8 seed and number 48 in the world, and Sarah Jane Perry, the number 1 seed and 7 in the world. Well, I'm Simon Park, and joining me for this match is Josh Taylor, England squash coach. Good afternoon, Josh.
Afternoon, Parky. Exciting day, finals day. Always a good day to be in the building.
Yeah, there's a good buzz, isn't there? Yeah, yeah. It's a good buzz about the place. It's a lot busier than it's been during the week. Of course, we have to mention Jazz Hutton's route to this final, beating Alice Green in the first round, and then getting not one bye, but 2 byes.
Yeah,
into the final. I don't think it's ever happened before.
I think you were saying you've seen one in a semi-final before, haven't you, Parky? Which
back in the black and white days when I was playing, I think 91, I was in the semis with Peter Marshall, Paul Gregory, and Tony Hands. I think I played Tony Hands, and Peter Marshall actually had to withdraw, so Paul Gregory went through and beat me in the final. And I still blame Peter Marshall for that because Paul Grover was fresh. And I had a tough battle with Tony Hands, but 2 buys to the final is quite incredible. But
Time.
mustn't take anything away from Jazz Hutton. She played really well against Alice Green, and she was 5 to 8 seed anyway. And as you've worked with her on and off at England squads over the years, and you've been impressed with her progress, haven't you?
Yeah, I think, you know, as much as there's the 2 buys, I think this will be an interesting matchup actually. You know, people have been asking where the young English players are, and there's a lot of young English women coming through, and Jazz is one of them. Certainly exciting left-hander to watch. Physically very good, you know, plays at a good pace, and also will be quite comfortable playing SJ, as she's a training partner of hers at Rob's Academy at West Warwicks. So I think in this we've probably got a more interesting match than the rankings might say. So I'll be interested to see how this unfolds and see if Jazz can settle into it and get some rhythm in what she does early doors, and then she could well start to trouble SJ.
Well, I think more than anything, I mean, it's obviously fantastic that she's in the final, but she just wanted a game. I think she was quite relieved. I was talking to her just before the final, and then SJ walked through the door. I think she was quite relieved to see that her opponent was in one piece.
I tell you what, 3 would be very lucky. I mean,
yeah, just here's the trophy.
AJ Bell National Squash Championships 2020 Women's Final Match. Sarah Jane Perry of England to serve, Jasmine Hutton of England to receive. Best of 5 games. Lovell.
So Sarah Jane Perry, the number 1 seed in this year's event, serving from the left-hand side to the left-hander Hutton. It's a good positive start from Sarah Jane Perry.
1 Lovell.
How nervous do you think Jazz will be in this final? Does she get nervous?
yeah, I'd imagine there'll be a little bit edgy to start, and I think that'll be an interesting thing to see as this first game unfolds, as to whether or not she can settle early doors. I think the other thing to note in this match will be, obviously, SJ's had a bit more time in her legs. She's had two 5-setters previous to this, and has been tested by both Millie and Julianne in the run-in. So it'll be interesting to see if Jazz can do enough to make that count and get into SJ physically.
Would that be the tactics if you were in Jazz's corner, try and extend the match?
Yeah, I think SJ's very good with a racket, and I think around the middle of the court she's very deadly. And I think probably one of the question marks that you might ask, and I think we see unfold, and is some of the physical side and movement side and backing up matches like that. You know, I think on a day, SJ's capable of beating all the world's best, but it's the backing up of matches, and she's obviously had a little bit of a run in, so it'll be interesting to see how Jazz can trouble that.
Well, I know that SJ's been going back home each day. It's only about an hour to Kenilworth from here. She's had a bit of sofa time with her cats, she was telling me. Nice to sleep in your own bed as well, isn't it, during a tournament?
2-2.
You know, Jazz has developed a lot over the last few years, and it's obviously up to 48 in the world, and on the rise as well. I think her development with a racket has been very, very good. I think as a junior that was something that I sort of always noted was that she was able to play at pace, and it was the tidying up of some of the racket work, which, you know, working with her dad early doors, and now with Rob, they've done a fantastic job along the way, all the people that she's worked with, in making her into a really attacking squash player, actually.
Yeah, she actually won 3 tournaments last year, a couple of challenger events in South Africa, where in both events she was number 2 seed and managed to convert and get the trophy. And she also is was the British Under-23 Open winner back in January 2019. Made a decent start here. Oh, just clipped the tin, I think.
Hand out 4-3.
Obviously, playing your training partner is an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Certainly with obviously the more experienced SJ, you know, it's someone that I know Jazz has looked up to and trained with a lot. Interesting to see how that plays out as well. You know, sometimes you can go in either with a bit too much respect, or you can get the reverse actually, and it gives you that chance to take someone on. I know they've had one encounter, you were saying, at the British Open last year, and that went very much in SJ's favour. So it'd be interesting to see if this continues to be as tight as this first bit has.
Yeah, the scoreboard wasn't too impressive in their only encounter, but she did get a fantastic win previous to that, didn't she? That was round 2 of the British Open. She beat Holly Norton in round 1 quite comfortably.
And now, 5-4.
But yeah, she's matching SJ here.
Yes, left.
It's been positive to the front.
Player review.
So our first review of the day, Josh. I think this is
On the yes,
probably
left
a good review. It was quite a long drop, so SJ would have to go back and around to get that. Or was the line through Jazz?
Yeah, I think she could have made a little bit more effort to get round there. So we'll see what the video ref has to say.
Do you think what would you give before we see it? No let? I think that is a let actually. I don't think the shot was quite good enough.
I think this would be a let, but maybe I think yesterday was quite a lot of decisions there with when SJ played Millie around that corner with the drop coming out a little bit further. I think yesterday it was a little bit of Millie's backhand drop as well, but it would be interesting to see if maybe that's a bit of a movement thing for SJ to get around there as well. I think both players can always do more to allow the ball to be played.
4.
As you all know, there's a lot of subtleties when you're on there that can play out.
You calling me a blocker?
Definitely wasn't calling you a blocker. Most of your opponents.
Oh yeah,
Parky.
most of all of my opponents. Yeah.
That's a nice line.
And now, 5-6.
Just got that back rounder, Parky, and fading off onto that forehand of SJ's.
Yeah, it was the right kind of width. You have your standard width, don't you? But sometimes a bit of awareness and you change the direction of your width slightly. Jazz has got a couple of coaches in her corner. Charlie Lee, her boyfriend, and also Josh Owen, son of Rob Owen. See there on the front row having a giggle together on the right hand side. David Campion, of course, watching with interest, the England squash coach. He'll be joining me in the commentary box for the men's final to discuss the chances of his brother, James Willstrop. It's going to be a stroke.
It's got to be, yeah. It's nice to see her trying to volley the ball there and trying to get in front of SJ. That's where the match will be won, you know. I think it's definitely the right intent.
Yeah, I trained with her for a few days when I was commentating at St George's a couple of years ago, and I was very impressed with her, and her speed particularly. She was very agile.
Player review.
Got all my best shots back.
She must have been quick.
So another review here.
I think this will stay.
Yeah, poor shot from SJ. Didn't clear particularly quickly. If she wants to volley that cross court, it's going to be very, very close to the body.
Stroke to Hutton. Decision upheld. Perry has no reviews remaining. It was felt that you weren't clear enough that she was ready to play. Hand out 7-all.
She's height there, just turn it round, then taking it in. It's a nice combination that from Jazz, but countered by SJ.
Hand out, 8-7.
Great shot. Great shot. That's what you were talking about earlier, trying to take the ball on the volley.
Hand out,
Keep the pressure up against
8-4.
SJ.
It's interesting that Jazz has tried to turn SJ into a backhand and open up for her backhand drop. She's done that combination a couple of times now in the last few rallies. And I think that's quite a nice ploy from her. Just trying to expose the movement and get SJ off the middle.
9-8.
Especially, I mean, we talk about her height, of course, but especially the fact that she's had 2 5-setters. You're going to feel that a little bit, I would have thought, in the legs.
And out, 9.
So anyone's game still here.
Certainly, if anyone had any questions about the difference in ranking, you know, Jazz has started well here and shown that we've got a good match on our hands. I think tactically it's looking pretty good here as well.
Now
Yeah, over 40 places between them in the world rankings.
and out, 10-9, game ball.
So the first game ball for Sarah Jane Perry, the number 1 seed. Just a little bit loose there, and that's going to get put away. First time, that's the sign of a quality player there. Just a little shake of the head from Hutton. Just left it a little bit loose against the number 1 seed. So Sarah Jane Perry takes the first game 11-9 in 11 minutes. She leads by 1 game to love.
It's both players just trading point for point in the start of that first game. To be expected, you know, a final, both trying to settle into the game. This game played through, both started to get their tactics starting to come through. SJ starting to dominate from around the middle, but Jazz started to counter with some nice combinations. But it was SJ that had enough and showed her true class in the end of this first game with a punishing winner to take the first game 11-9. She leads 1 game to love.
Perry leads 1 game to love. Lovell.
Well, it's a good effort from Jazz Hutton, her debut final. Hopefully she's got rid of some of the nerves.
Hand out, 1.
It was a very professional finish to that first game from SJ. She was given 1 chance, 1 game ball, and took it with a great winner, Parky. We were just saying, just off air, weren't we, about how quite often it's the more experienced senior player that's got that ability at big points to make the most of them.
Absolutely, yeah, and usually first time of asking as well.
2 love.
Scott aided by the side wall a little bit there, Hutton. She won't complain about that. Got a nice little lead here in the second.
Down.
Just didn't
Hand
really
out.
adjust there.
1-2.
such a lovely striker of the ball, Sarah Jane, isn't she, Parky? She's a really crisp, pure hitter of the ball, particularly when she's given time.
2-all.
I think, yeah, she is. She's one of the best strikers, I think, in the women's game. I love her. I think her best shot is a backhand drop shot from any length on that side.
3-2.
And she goes cross with it. I think she won a match with it yesterday,
3-2.
going cross court drop, which was under a lot of pressure. Jazz Hutton having to scurry around quite a lot here. But that was a strange shot, but it worked.
That's two now, sort of like non-intended trickles that have worked for Jazz.
I don't know what she was trying there, but.
And now, 3-all.
Sarah Jane Perry just wondering if she meant that shot. Yeah, it was. Jazz Hutton very upset with herself, saying it's an easy boast, and you can't do that against SJ. You're just going to set her up. Too much time at the front of the court, you're going to get punished.
So it was a nice little hold. There's option there as well. Just give yourself no chance there if you want to put that kind of boast around someone like SJ.
Down. 5-3.
Just clipping that. Very honest, Jazz. Two should cool down. It's nice to see.
Yeah, she does seem to me to be a very honest player. Oh dear, you don't need that. Just a bit of help from the nick. Well done from SJ, playing through the slight interference.
Just gone a bit heavier in a hitting, Jazz, as this game's gone on, and she's just got to be cautious. She's still getting the lines that she was getting in the first game.
7-3.
Yeah, I think the movement there of SJ was struggling a bit. I think she can get into her a bit. Some longer rallies like that, she might feel some dividend. Well, that's useful for Hutton.
And now, 4-7.
Just a bit of mental tiredness, perhaps.
Yeah, it certainly will help. She's got a bit of work to do here, Jazz. Let's get herself back in this second game.
That movement there from SJ was a little bit laboured, I thought, on the backhand side. But that's a double. Good call. But it's getting her to that point, isn't it, where it's a bit like in the men's game when you're playing James Willstrop, to actually get that work into the legs. It sounds easy, but it certainly isn't.
Yeah, I think it's the aggressive lines running away from SJ to the back corners that I think will start to give Jazz the opportunities to go in short. And I think she did that really well in the first game, and she's done it a couple of times in this game, but not quite as much. I think it's getting the weight of the shot to get it to run off, to get SJ at full stretch out to the back and then open up some opportunities. It's a lot easier said than done.
Absolutely.
I think she did it in the first game, Jazz, by mixing her paces a little bit better. Bit more variety. That just opened up a bit of space to get a couple of combinations together. But that's a lovely boast.
Great shot. Great shot. Couldn't have been any better. Millimetres above the tin.
7.
Onto it nice and early. That's positive play. And it was quite a long rally as well. If she can get most of the rallies into double figures, not just for the sake of it, if she gets an opportunity to go for it, but most of the time, get into those double figure rallies, she's going to get those opportunities. I don't feel she had to go that low there, really.
8-6.
No, she just forced that. I guess that's a sign of the pressure, though, that you're under.
SJ, I was just about to say SJ looking very relaxed, but that was a bit forced.
7-8. Yes, left. I thought there was sufficient interference.
I think it's been an interesting little review here. There's a bit of a shutout from Jazz. It was a very loose shot from SJ.
Yes,
So it'd be interesting to see what the video ref makes of this.
My first thought was the quality of shot wasn't good enough to be a no-let. Of course, that's what Jazz wants. So I think it should remain a let, really, just because the quality of shot wasn't good enough. She hits it a bit flat on that forehand volley.
Yeah.
She didn't really cut it in, and it bounces up almost to the short line.
Do you think the line was behind Jazz for that, maybe?
Possibly, and if it had been given a no-let, that would have been the reason.
Yes, let. Decision upheld. Hutton has no reviews remaining. 7-8 from the right. Yes.
She's done well here, Jazz. Back to within 1 point.
Yeah, she's sticking in. I mean, that's one thing we know she's got. She's a great shot.
It's a great get as well.
She's a fighter, isn't she?
Yeah.
She just keep pushing. You can see here she's really pushing hard to get this second game. That's a great shot.
That's where you just cannot give SJ space. That racket works too good to give her stuff like that. Just a little bit of height in the bounce that gives her a chance to really use the strings and have option on the ball.
Well, nothing against SJ, but I think a lot of people would love to see Jazz sneak a game here. A lot of the neutrals to see more squash in this women's final. Obviously, Perry the overwhelming favourite, but she's got 2 game balls to take a 2-love lead here. Great shot. Great shot. How positive is that, Josh?
Very good.
9-10.
She did well with the strings there as well. Just coming a little bit wide, getting the strings right around the outside of the ball.
It's almost like a cricket shot, wasn't it?
Careful with that boast.
Oh, I thought she might have
thought it might
overcooked it, but she hadn't.
Down.
Oh, too much. Trying a little bit. She should have straightened that one long, but Sarah Jane Perry won't mind about that. She's walking off into her corner. 2-love to the good. So Sarah Jane Perry taking the second game in an identical point score, 11-9, an identical duration, 11 minutes. So the number 1 seed leads by 2 games to love.
So the second game saw Jazz come out well. She got a couple of points, bit of an early lead, but it was countered by SJ. She started to show some real class with the racket in the mid part of the game, opening up a nice big gap. But it was Jazz that countered it again, just showing how much of a fighter she really is. She came back, she made it close. But once again, at the big point, it was SJ that was able to get the winner and take the game. 11-9. She leads 2 games to love.
Perry leads 2 games to love. Lovell.
So 2 identical games, very close games.
Out.
11-9, 11-9.
And out.
11 minutes, 11
One.
minutes
Yeah.
as well.
Jazz Hutton, I think, just aiming to see if she can take a game and go from there. Something that she's not done before, of course, in her previous encounter.
I always find that these situations are very interesting when watching the younger players as they're coming through, Parky, particularly when they're 2-love down, how they respond to that, how the engine keeps up playing at a higher pace than necessarily they're used to. And I think you can find out quite a lot about character, but also physicality, like the engine, how they're coping with playing up in level.
Well, I think she's gutsy. And a lot of those younger English girls seem to be like that. Lucy Turmel, definitely, and Alice Green. They're all real fighters, which is a good sign. No matter what kind of talent you have, it's so important to be a fighter. You're going to go a long way in squash.
Yeah, I think there's a real batch of them, Parky. You know, there's a chunk more to come as well. Like particularly on the women's side. Spoke about the men's side on Thursday when I was with you, but there's a lot of very good prospects in the women's game for England coming through. I think it's just going to take time. They need time to come through and develop, but it's really promising to see how Jazz has played here. And obviously, seeing Lucy and Alice and Lily examples earlier on in the event.
Yeah, it bodes well for the future. It'd be great to see Jazz get a game here, if possible.
And out. 3-all.
It's not too far away. Certainly playing above her ranking, 48 in the world.
Out. And out. 4-3.
Oh, that was aggressive.
And out.
Not bad. A wry smile from SJ. Serve wasn't the greatest, but well put away. There's that cross-court drop I mentioned.
And out. 5.
Just pulls that one out of the bag every now and again. It's really good hitting on the forehand side. Really straight.
Yes, left.
She was adamant very early on there, Jazz, I think, that she was
Yeah.
after the stroke.
Absolutely.
Hutton on the
I
yes,
think
left
it
decision.
should remain a let. I mean, it was very, very close to being a stroke. It'd have been an inch looser, I think. Yeah.
I think straight jumping in there, she was after the straight. I think that doesn't necessarily bode well for this
Doesn't look
review.
good. Yeah.
But I can see why she wants it. She's there early.
I think SJ's cleared as well. That's the issue. It's always the issue of your opponent and the ball. I think it's a poor shot, but SJ's cleared sufficiently.
Oh,
Well,
Stroke to Hutton.
video referee disagrees.
Decision overruled.
I mean, as I said, it's a very
Hutton
close
has
one.
One
It's
review remaining.
a very close one.
Hand out. 5-all.
must have been impressed with the speed off the mark from Jazz on onto that ball. Very
Yeah.
quick off the tee.
Yeah, as I said,
It's a nice
one of the
finish.
best shots. That the backhand drop shot straight, if not
And
the
now,
best shot from Sarah Jane Perry.
6-5.
She puts just enough cut on it, doesn't she, to drop it short. And it's not much risk. That was fantastic kill.
Hand out.
A bit
6-all.
of a yell from Hutton, geeing herself up.
Just hit the 30-minute mark. I think if nothing else happens in this match, we've seen Jazz be well and truly in every single game, which is a very good prospect for her.
Yeah, and true, and it's a massive improvement on the last match as well, isn't it? The first match that they played in the British Open, which was
7,
I don't know if I
6.
mentioned earlier, it was 23 minutes. So a bit of a lesson.
Be a great day for Coral Swash Club, where Jazz is originally from, down in Brighton.
No left.
Say a real good junior hotspot of English squash at the moment. A number of players coming out of there.
Hutton
Her
on the
dad
no left
Ben is
decision.
the coach down there. Sure, he'd be a very proud man today.
So he's been instrumental in producing a lot of those juniors.
Yeah, people will be aware of Joan O'Brien, who won the boys under 13s title at the British Junior
Yeah,
Open,
sure.
and Tom Walsh as well, another one of the up and coming young male players that come from the same club, and there's a number of very highly ranked juniors that come through their system.
Well, Jazz Hutton absolutely convinced that this should be a let ball, and I tend to agree with her.
Yes,
It's
left.
pretty loose.
Decision overruled.
And so
Hutton
does the
has
video
one
referee. It
review
took a while.
remaining. 7-6. Left side. Felt that she might have been able to play the shot. There was sufficient interference.
She always likes to get a little bit in there, doesn't she, SJ?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Impart her opinion.
She's got to be careful here.
7-6.
7-6 to Hutton. Good opportunity for her.
Down. Hand out. 7-all.
It doesn't need to go so fine, I feel.
Down.
It's all just a little bit edgy, isn't it, Parky?
Bit frantic. I mean, I know she's trying to up the pace, which I think is a good tactic, but
8-7.
she looks like she's upping the tension a little bit in herself, and I think that needs to just calm down a fraction, be a bit more measured in the attack. Can't blame her though. 20 years of age in her first nationals final against a world-class player.
Down. 9-7.
Just trying to calm myself down there before this next serve.
That's the right idea. Yeah, just settle down, couple of deep breaths.
So that's gone for the cross-court nick off it, but
She took it in slow though, didn't she? There's a little bit more margin for error.
some nice
Well
work
played,
at the front of
well
the court.
played. And that was the kind of rally where she
And
can use
now
her speed a little bit more,
8-9.
which is perhaps a good idea, because she's so quick around the court that she hasn't been able to really use it that much against Perry so far. Shot, just wrong footing SJ slightly, and that was a wonderful shot. There's the yell from Hutton. She's worked hard for that. Deserved to win this rally. She's just a bit more careful, a bit more measured in playing that drop shot.
The shoulder just looks a little bit more relaxed in what she's doing, and you should get that a bit more settled on the ball. Just give yourself that little bit more time and freedom to get some rhythm through the shot. It's always the first thing to go, and
yeah. Just as you say that, she shanks it and gives a match ball to the number 1 seed here. It's just a slender lead though, just one match ball. She's got every chance of saving it here. It's just stays calm. Oh dear, just not quite. But as you say, Josh, she's made a good account of herself here. Jasmine, some lovely embrace at the end there. The second championship win for Sarah Jane Perry. She's established her number 1 seeding this year, coming through in the end relatively comfortably. 11-9, 11-9, 11-9. Good effort from Jazz Hutton though. I'm just going to hear from Paul Walters and Perry.
SJ, first of all, congratulations. I think it's fair to say that it's probably not the final you'd anticipated, but nonetheless, you know, a very spirited performance there, and you know, a few words about your opponent.
Yeah, I think, you know, Jazz will be the first to say herself, you know, it's a bit weird what happened this week with 2 withdrawals, and so she got 2 byes straight through to the final. But, you know, Jazz has improved so much over the past 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, really pushed on, and I know that from training with her quite a bit, and also played at British Open not that long ago as well, so she's definitely pushing that kind of crop of young players. She's one of those right at the top of that crop, pushing up to try and challenge the slightly older guard like myself, so you've got to try and keep them at bay, and you know, I said to her at the end, I'm sure she'll have many more finals, and yeah, I hope she had a good experience today, and I thought she played really well, so you know, she gave it a really, really good go. So.
Obviously, your good friend Tesney Evans, 2-time champion, that's taken you level with her. So hopefully, obviously there's a lot of matches before then, but hopefully it sort of makes next year even more exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's two all with me and Tesney now. So now we've both got to try and catch up with mutual good friend in Alison Waters as well. Who's got, I want to say 5, might be 5, might be 4, at least 4, maybe 5. She was gutted to have to pull out as well this week. So those are the kind of dreams and aspirations that we all have. But the draw, I think, is really strong, and it keeps some new players keep cropping up every year that are sort of challenging, and that's, I think, really exciting. And it's not Nick Matthew winning it 11 times or whatever it was, but that's a very good achievement as well, Nick. But it's really good for the fans, I think, that it's changing hands and it's a real dogfight every year.
And is it equally exciting and significant that we've wrestled it back from the Welsh, and it's now at least the women's title will be back with the English?
Yeah, absolutely. We can't have it there for too long, can we? We've had to get it back after a couple of years. It went for a little trip. It's back from its holiday now. No, Tesney will be back next year and be gunning for it as well. So it'll be fantastic. And I'm sure the men's final in a moment is going to be a fantastic match as well. Two of my favourite players to watch. So hopefully I'll have a quick shower and then I can actually watch a bit as well and be a squash fan too.
Well, before we let you go, just a quick few words from you in terms of what we can expect from Sarah-Jane Perry for the immediate future and maybe a little bit sort of longer term as well, in terms of what are your immediate and longer term goals and aspirations?
I think my kind of goals for the rest of the season are to try and push on a bit further in some of the platinum events and really keep pushing and try and break into the top 4 or 5, really. My highest ranking so far has been 6, so I'd really love to improve on that and really love to win one of the platinum events as well. And Emily, I think, said yesterday that she's got 4 tournaments in the next 5 weeks, and I'm in all of those as well. So first immediate is look after the body and get ready for the next tournament, which starts on Friday in the US.
Well, again, congratulations, 2-time British national champion, and we look forward to you and seeing you on Squash TV and all of the tournaments in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah-Jane Perry.
So Sarah-Jane that takes the title, very similar third game, playing some lovely squash, getting herself in front. Jazz, though, battling all the way through and really putting together some good combinations. It was Sarah-Jane, though, that showed her real class, finishing off the match ball attempt at the first time of asking and taking the title.
So there we have it. Just to confirm, Sarah-Jane Perry is the new British national champion. For the second time, she won it in 2015, coming through 9-9-9 against Jazz Hutton. But a much better performance from her. So congratulations to British champion Sarah-Jane Perry. So there we have a real mouth-watering men's final. It's England v Wales. Joel Makin, the number 1 seed against the number 2 seed, James Willstrop, and current defending champion, has been brought forward to 4 o'clock. So join us in a few minutes for that.
with those presentations, I'd like to welcome onto court England board member Nick Murrells. I think as a sport, probably one of the biggest failings and frustrations that I've noticed is we don't really acknowledge not just the players, but also the referees and everyone who contributes to making this such a wonderful sport. Obviously, the referees make a huge contribution, and we've recently learned that 3 of our leading referees who have contributed a combined service age of 125 years. They've recently retired, and we couldn't really let them go without paying a personal thank you. I will invite them on the court in a moment, but before I do that, I'd just like to give you a little bit of history in terms of their achievements. First of all, Mary Scott Miller, she first started refereeing in 1971 and reached the status of European referee in 2000. Jill Wood started in the late 1970s, reaching the status of a World Squash Federation referee in 2003. And Dean Clayton, who started in 1982, reached a world-level referee status and was very active on the WSF World Tour and PSA World Tours from 1997 to 2014. Not only have they contributed at local, regional events, they've also contributed significantly to the world's major events, including Commonwealth Games, British Opens, British Nationals, and indeed World Opens. To lead them onto court, I would like to invite John Mazzarella, our tournament referee. But please show your appreciation to our 3 referees that we'd like to acknowledge: Mary Scott Miller, Jill Wood, and Dean Clayton. And before the referees leave the court, just like to leave it to one of the current world's leading referees, John Mazzarella, who's also the tournament referee here, to really have the last word and to pay his own personal tribute to 125 years of service. John.
Thank you. 125 years of service, good heavens. That's a record in itself, isn't it? Look, the length, the quality, and the commitment of Mary, Dean, and Jill that they've given to England squash in their long careers is so well known by their colleague referees. But today, it has been so well documented by Paul in a brief history of their careers. More so, what I think is really important, and what I'd like to touch upon, is the people that they are. When I first came along into the England squash refereeing world, all 3 of them were very well established by then. The great thing about them was they immediately became confidants and mentors to me, which was so valuable in my early days. And I know so many other referees have been recipients of their generosity. They even, after my bad matches, they were good reassurers and had good shoulders for me to cry on. Obviously, over the years, they've become very good friends. And we've shared so many social occasions together, sometimes extending into Europe and around the world. There's many stories we have told and remembered many, many times, and that happened last night as well. So many stories, some of them I can't share with you. Mary, Jill, Dean, thank you from England Squash. Thank you from all your colleague referees over the years for what you have achieved and for the people you are. You have a place in the England Squash Refereeing Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And if you'd now like to lead the referees off the court, and we'll hopefully proceed very quickly with our men's final, which will be starting in approximately 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the players onto court for the men's final of the AJ Bell British National Championships. Our first player onto court is from England and the defending champion, who remarkably is competing in his 22nd consecutive British National Championships. Today, he is making his 11th final appearance. Seeded 2 for this year's AJ Bell British National Championships, please welcome James Willstrop.
Isn't it?
I was just talking about, yeah, I was 12 when when he was born, 11 maybe, and he just remember changing nappies and things, and helping mum out, and Malk, who's bellowing at me. But it's incredible really, the journey, all that time, and now you've seen him obviously in his twilight years now. His sell by date has passed by a little bit, but back in 2011 when he was in his prime, world #1 for a spell. He knows how to win huge matches like this, and this is a really interesting, exciting match really. I mean, you look at the physicality of Joel. Obviously he's adding layers, has been for a while now, but James with his ball control, it's just a really exciting proposition, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like our matchup, isn't it, between you and me? You're the runner and I'm the shot maker.
I don't know, I could run.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the Willstrop Matthew matchup as well, isn't it? There are obviously differences. Joel Makin is his own man completely, but he's a very physical beast, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's Rob Owen's done a fantastic amount for him over the years, the last 4 or 5 years. He left the junior ranks with no real weapons or artillery. He's always been a great athlete, and I think, talking to his dad the other night, I think mentally he switched on around the time he, as a kind of late junior, he really switched on to squash and made that decision that he wanted to play, and the desire that he has, those kind of qualities, the dedication, the characteristics that he has, plus the genetic makeup. Then you start adding layers in, which Rob Owens taught, has given a lot to him and enhanced him in that capacity. Then you start to get a world-class player, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Men's final match.
He certainly made the right decision.
Joel Makin of Wales to serve. James Willstrop of England to receive. Best of 5 games. Love all.
So who will be joining Sarah Jane Perry for that photo opportunity with the trophies at the end of this match? The last time they played was in New York just a few weeks ago, and that was a cracking match. Joel Makin coming through in 4 in that one.
Yeah, unbelievable match. I think the 3rd and 4th, both games went to tie break. James almost took it into a 5th, and he played very well that night. His ball control, his squash was of high quality, fantastic precision, and he's very aware. Talking to him before this match, he's very aware that he'll have to play, to his best level to stand any chance against Joel, who's, he's his favourite for this really. He's in his prime. He's playing very well. Had some fantastic results at the highest level.
Yeah, we were just talking about the result against Tarek Momin in Washington at the World Team Championships. You actually were there live seeing that one, weren't you? And you said something very interesting.
1-0.
Makin, for people that didn't know, actually won that match 11-9 in the 5th, but it's the first time you've seen him genuinely tired, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he was right on the brink. I mean, literally, Tarek had him doing so much work, but and he was down in the 5th, and Joel just, so determined and dogged. You've got to really put him away. It's like a little piece of iron. But he is, he's not just a physical being. He's now turned into a very fine squash player. As I was saying there, he's adding layers. What you just look at where the ball's landing. It's landed in better areas. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
I know he is adding variety, and he is enhancing his skills, and that will continue. He'll get better and better.
Yeah, I agree. I have to say though, my player of the week so far in terms of form in this men's event has been James. He's been in very fine form, especially putting away George Parker.
Yeah.
He's really put things together fantastically well, and he's going to have to do that again today. Like you say, he's going to have to play to his top level and really hold the ball and use his subtleties, and obviously quite attacking, error-free squash.
Yeah, and it's not just ball control. He'll be precise. I mean, the way he's hitting the ball here already, you can see his lines are good. He's feeling the ball. He looks quite comfortable in his movements. So I think he'll play well. It's just he's going to have to do more than that. There'll have to be those subtleties of showing options. Trying to take away Makin's biggest asset, which is his movement, his physicality. And the way to do that is to not give the visual clues, something James excels at. But if it's all a little bit too one-paced and rhythmical, then Joel will read that, and it will be too physical. So James, he'll have to use range. He'll have to use a bit of height. differences. Yeah, trying to unsettle Joel a little bit, as we saw Adrian do yesterday for spells. And then he'll have to finish like that. He'll have to be clinical.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-3.
So that's a very detailed account of how James Willstrop can win. Joel Makin, conversely, has to play to his strengths and make the match and the rallies pretty tough and long if he can. I mean, he's not going to go negative if there's an open. He's going to play it short. He's going to attack, but in general, he's just going to make it as tough as possible physically, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you just said, you know, quite rightly, he will have to be positive. He can't just run and get the ball back and hit the ball around to the back of the court for an hour and a half. He needs to, you know, he needs to outplay James as well, outthink him. And as you can see here, he's playing at a good tempo, but he realises that he's got to do this for a long time as well. And it's all about getting the blend right.
Yeah, I mean, James's racket work is so good. That's what we always focus on. But his fitness is pretty fantastic as well. He's maybe not perhaps the beast that Joel Makin is, but he's always in great shape, especially for this tournament. James Willstrop.
Yeah, and he's always worked hard as James. He's and he's tough as well. That's the thing. Mentally, he's very tough. He can't do the volume that he used to do, of course, but you know, when he does work, he works hard. Some lovely differences there. Just that. Not quite sure what that is though.
That's one of my shots.
The leisure centre reverse post.
It's very rare you see a miscue like that from Willstrop. At least it
almost
it
like
just
a
went
little
high.
malfunction, wasn't it? Or something?
It just went high though instead of going in the tin.
4-2.
How much do you think it's going to affect the players, the fact that James Willstrop hits his 11th final and Joel Makin's first?
Yeah, interesting one, Parky. I mean, Joel obviously, there's bound to be some apprehension in there. I mean, James obviously knows how to win. Well, of course, Joel knows how to win, but yeah, Joel, this event has a huge amount of credibility, and he will, with that comes a little bit of pressure, and you know, the expectation is on him. He knows he's in his prime, and he's his favourite. He'll be expecting to beat him the last 2 or 3 times, I think. So yeah, there's no doubt that will have some bearing on it. Psychologically, you just don't know how players can react in certain situations. But I think James will be pretty relaxed about this, to be honest.
Yep.
He's just happy to be playing, I think, at this level, or at least competing at this level.
I think it's nice when you're an older player and you've achieved just about everything in the game, like James has, and as you say, just happy to be playing at this slightly older age and still in finals and still competing. And must be quite a kind of settling, relaxing feeling, really.
Yeah.
You don't feel the pressure, and as you say, in this match, he's actually not expected to win. People think he can win, but he's not expected to win.
Yeah, great rally there.
And out. 6-3.
Yeah, he's actually got Joel Makin's got Willstrop doing some work there, which is what he wants. He's been talking a little bit this week, actually, about how hard it is to make Willstrop run. He just reads the game so well, doesn't he? And plus being, having a great reach, it's very hard to unsettle him.
Yeah. Yeah, and Joel will be very aware, like he is here. He's moving the ball around quite nicely himself. Quite a few subtleties, and he's
playing some good squash. That was a nice volley drop.
Yeah, and his racket work, just hitting across the face of the front wall to try and turn James. And great finish.
A good call from Makin.
And out. 4-6.
But yeah, just on the rack a little bit there, James. But that's what he has, the ability to win rallies quickly, and that's what always keeps him involved in matches like this. And players very aware that when they're playing against him, that can always happen as well. I mean, the difference I guess with Joel now is obviously he's adding layers, but he's just so physically strong that when you are under pressure, when he is under pressure, he's able to get behind the ball. You know, his footwork is excellent. He's very smooth. He's not just a powerful athlete, he's actually really efficient as well. If you look at his patterns, he's
very balanced, isn't he?
Yeah, very light, very efficient, moves, very cat-like, isn't it? And that makes him, it makes it hard to really stretch him out and get him out of position. With that level of smooth and efficient, relaxed footwork that he has.
100%. And out.
Can I ask someone else, or is that not available? Can I ask someone
Phone a friend.
We still don't have the technology to check the outs. And out, 7-4.
Well, James just asking if that ball was out of court, but wanted the camera's review on it, but that's not allowed.
Yeah, we just go for pickups in that department. Well, that definitely hit the tin. So good lead now for the Welshman. 4-point buffer.
And that's just the pressure really from Joel. You know, James knows he has to be acutely accurate, and yesterday those were going in, weren't they?
Absolutely, yeah, because it's just a feeling, isn't it, that you get a general feeling of pressure. That's why it's always a bit strange to call them unforced errors, because you're just always feeling the force, aren't you?
Yeah.
Feeling the force of an opponent like Joel Makin.
Or not feeling the force, and then it relaxes the shot even more. You know, you're allowed to.
Makin not falling for that fake.
This is good work from James. Nice little phase. It's unfortunate. Just pulled it.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. You're going to go with your head or your heart today?
Now, I did say before a couple of people asked, and I said, look, I think Joel's favourite. For James to have any chance of winning the match, he's going to have to play like he has done this week, but do it for a lot longer.
Yeah, he's been excellent this week. 6 game balls then to Joel Makin. Very impressive from him. He's hardly blinked, has he? He's hardly put a foot wrong.
No.
James hasn't played particularly badly. Just going for something a little bit speculative. He's probably going to lose this game, so he's just relaxing out, seeing what happens, relaxing the arm.
Yeah, and he won't be deterred from this at all. He'll come out and start the second. He backs himself all the way. It's just, if he's good enough, then he's happy, and if not, then Joel's too good. That's how he looks at it. Very simple.
Well, you've got to be philosophical, haven't you? You can't, at the end of the day, it is just a game. But, of course, it means so much to these guys. I think that's another thing, you can afford to be like that, can't you, in James's position?
Yeah,
he's achieved so much in the game. And it's great. He's got all his family here, including you.
Yeah, he put some good work together. He just needed a bit more width on that cross court, and that allowed Joel back in. Oh, that's a great finish.
This is what I mean. It can happen when you're 5-6 points down, game balls down. You can just relax, and before you know it, you're actually breathing down your opponent's neck again.
Yeah. One thing James always tries to do is finish a game well. He believes that takes you into the second game. So regardless of the scoreline, there's always something to gain from it.
Game ball.
I think that's a good ethos. It's there's no point in just giving up the ghost, is there? You never know what could happen. And this is, I mean, even if it stops here, he's definitely making a little bit edgier. Just 10-5, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe sow the seed that I'm still here and I've got quality, and in a match even with top players, confidence ebbs and flows depending on who's doing what to whom and who's getting the ascendancy and the scoreline in the favour. So it's very much a mental battle constantly. See how I just used the hold there?
Oh wow.
But again, rather than just nail the cross court, which Joel would have read and just stopped him
delayed.
slightly.
Yeah, yeah.
Delayed, forced a weak response, and then the finish went
Well,
in.
he had to check his footwork, didn't he, John Makin?
Yeah, look, he didn't get the cross-court
Made
width.
him, made him uncomfortable.
So there was an instance where he weren't able to get his feet behind the ball, and James was able to pick him off. He's got the skills to finish.
So another game ball save. Getting very edgy now for Makin after that 10-5 lead. I don't know if you agree, but over the years, I've often seen James play fantastically well from a severe deficit.
Yeah, and
he relaxes.
He's not necessarily looking to win the game. He just wants to play, get his confidence going, and get his a foothold in more than anything.
Player review Makin on the yes-left decision.
I think perhaps you don't remember it as much because he's always mainly in the lead, isn't he? Most of the time, James Willstrop, until he comes against players like this. What do you think here?
I think that'll be a let.
Yeah.
Just a bit of traffic there. He's wanting to go through. I mean, it wasn't a dead ball to the back, was it?
Should remain a let ball. I like the fact that that was so quick from the video referee.
9-10, game ball.
Well, this is interesting now. I do feel like James really does need one of the first two games, so this is...
Yeah, encouraging signs for Willstrop. John Makin hasn't won a point, of course, for a while here.
I know James was talking before the match about using height, not just in defence, but just to switch, go up the wall, just give himself time to reorganise, get central again. See, for me there, he needs to be going up. The pace has gone up, so that's the time to take the sting, like there. A little bit of hold on it. See, again, just caught Joel's movement slightly.
Went for the big one there, Makin.
Oh. Just allows that time to resettle and organise himself.
No let.
Wow, look at this. 10-5 up, John Makin in his first game. And James Willstrop has saved 5 game balls. We're now into a tie-break situation. And both of them have one review.
Each player has one review available.
Well, a fantastic phase of ball control and pure accuracy from James, isn't it? Finishing, highest quality there.
Well,
Last 4 or 5 rallies.
Absolutely, it's a great example of what you were saying. Finish the game well. You never know what could happen, and you might even just sneak it.
But he's certainly in the zone right now, isn't he? Selections are pretty impressive.
Thank you.
It's a great counter drop. Well, who'd have thought it? We were talking a few minutes ago just about trying to give himself a little bit of momentum going into the second game. What not?
We were writing him off, weren't we? In first 10-5. I mean, this is what I was saying. He's a dangerous animal when he relaxes even more. James Willstrop. He's pretty relaxed as it is, but when he's just thinking, oh, damage limitation, let's just play well, let's see what happens.
Well, yeah, psychologically, it's the answer, isn't it? It shows, the scores in the future. Concentrate on what you're doing with the ball and what's happening right now. The score will take care of itself.
Willstrop's drop shot from the back of the court. How many millions of those has he played since the age of 3?
Tight that is. Great squash.
Yes left. Player review Makin on the yes left decision.
He's obviously wanting a stroke here, but
It landed short though, Parky. I mean, this he was onto that like a flash, wasn't he? James hadn't cleared.
yeah.
On review, this could get overturned, you know.
Well, it drops in front of the ball. Actually bounces in front of the service box here, and it's not particularly tight, especially by Willstrop standards.
It's landed in front of the service box. You're right. I mean, that for me is a stroke.
Yes left. This is an upheld. Makin has
I think Joel will feel hard done by there. He was onto that.
From the right, please. Game ball.
There's no way through, Parky, was there?
No. He's had a bit of a reprieve there. Willstrop still got the game ball. tight work from Makin both sides.
I think sometimes as a break, so help the player that's not got the momentum, the reviews. I think players have to use those reviews wisely. Or, well, not that that was a review, but
oh, definitely. I've seen them used quite unwisely this week at times.
You know, sometimes forego the decision for the fact that you've just won the last 3-4 rallies, you know, and momentum's with you.
Yes, I think sometimes the fact that you believe 100% that you're correct, it just takes over, doesn't it?
Yeah,
takes over the wisdom.
Oh, it's the finish.
Oh, well played.
Wow.
Well played.
Great comeback.
Intelligent decision as well, just to flick the ball down the line in case there's any problems about decisions from Willstrop. Just nice and safe down the line. What a performance to come back from 10-5 down, saving all those game balls. Joel Makin will be furious with himself, but it's Willstrop that comes through. 12-10 in 19 minutes. He leads by 1 game to love.
Well, it was all Joel Makin for the first half of that, for most of the game throughout. James, you know, perhaps feeling the pressure to really be fine with his shot making, made quite a few unforced errors. But yeah, 10-4 lead, managed to just try and get gain back some momentum into the match and get a foothold and end up turning that round. An incredible level of squash, you know, pure quality and high levels of precision and accuracy from James. So he takes the first game on a tie break in 19 minutes. He leads 1 game to love.
There's the scorecard. You can see the points, the run of points that Willstrop got at the end. It just didn't. It's that 7 points in a row from 7-4 and then 10-4 actually. I thought it was 10-5 originally, but 10-4. 7 points in a row. So it just shows persistence pays off. Willstrop again to the good.
15 seconds.
You can see in the back there Malcolm Willstrop chatting to Vanessa Atkinson, the girlfriend of James Willstrop, and their two boys next to her, Logan and Bram. Could hardly keep Logan off the squash court this week. He's addicted, isn't he?
Yeah, well,
unsurprisingly.
We had a game yesterday. I managed to get a win.
First one for a while. That's actually quite interesting, the warm-up of Willstrop earlier. He was basically chasing his son around the court. Lovely to see that they're so interested and enthusiastic. Not bad having a dad like James. Just rocking up and playing in the final of the National Championships. So, of course, you know James's father really well, Malcolm Willstrop, and coach. Obviously, he's gone off into the in the corner after that first game. What do you think he would have been saying to James?
Well, one of his big things is always about being persistent. You know, persist. Yeah, that he said that so many times. I've had a quid for every time he said that. But yeah, it'll be just persist. You know, back yourself. They'll see that as a bonus. Yeah, because they know that even when you're so far down, just keep trying to get a foothold in if you're not in there in the match, and just trying to finish the game strongly. And you know, there's never much talk about the scoreline. It's just about do the right things. I mean, James obviously very much works it out on there himself, so there won't be too much going on tactically. James just likes a lot of positive reinforcement that you're doing the right things. If there's something that he's overdoing in a particular area, if he's overdoing the backhand drop, for example, and someone's countering it, like Joel's great on a counter drop, particularly on the backhand side, so they'll be aware of that. There might be just a little chat around that, or nothing too detailed. I mean, you've only got a short spell of time. It's just
and conversely, what I know, obviously, you don't know John Makin and David Evans as well, but what would have been going on in that corner, or rephrase the question, if you were John Makin's coach?
Well, yeah, I'd be looking at that saying, look, you led 10-4, you played some great squash. James, maybe he'd lost a little bit of focus. James played some unbelievable squash. That is going to happen in the match. You don't get panicked with those phases when you're up against it. Just remember who you are.
Well, whatever David Evans said to John Makin, it's certainly working. 6-love lead, and he'll be very sure to try and hang on to the lead, not lose any sort of concentration. Not that it really was too much his fault, it was just a great play of Willstrop at 10-4 down. But 7-love here, and it's incredible response.
Well, just while we've been talking, I've just been observing James's movements, and it looks like he's just come off it a little bit. And I don't think it'll be like he's tired necessarily. There might be just, the fatigue in the muscles, a bit leggy.
From the whole week, rather than...
Well, from that first game even.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you come on after a break, you've played a really hard opening game, and then you come on and you just need a couple of rallies to run it off. And Joel's hit a couple of winners, he's forced it a little bit. Before you know it, you're 4-5 love down, and
or 8 love.
Well, yeah, now it's turned into 8 love, so just a little bit later onto the ball there, look.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be as sprightly in the acting, and that's really speculative, isn't it? I know we all know about the skill levels of Willstrop, but he wouldn't normally try such a speculative shot.
No, and I think being so far down, I think he's clearly decided to let this one go. But I mean, that's I don't think Malcolm will be happy with this at all. I think
nor will James.
No, but I don't think he'll be particularly happy with the way that's. James not managed to stop the rot a little bit, just for
at least a couple of points. I don't think I've ever seen James Willstrop lose a game 11-love, but that's just what's happened. John Makin taking the second game 11-love in 4 minutes. It's 1 game apiece. Well, slight delay in the return of James Willstrop in this third game. I hope there's no kind of niggle. As I said, never seen James Willstrop lose a game 11-love. He doesn't look like he's hobbling. Just as we said, he just seemed to slow down a little bit in the second, and then gave up the ghost. Just as we were talking about persistence.
Yeah. Quite ironic, really, wasn't it?
Just a bit. But he was so persistent in that first. It was a great achievement, really, to take that first game.
Well, I have seen him lose games badly, of course, but 11-11 in 4 minutes,
badly.
especially when we're talking about persistence. Yeah, I hope he's all right. I mean, he didn't look to be limping or like there's any problem. I think it was just Joel came out, obviously had to come out strong and get a response like you would expect. Before you know it, it was like 7-love down, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was very quick, and from John Makin's point of view, we're very happy with that. Such a hard first game, and then back on level pegging within 4 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, Joel's, the intensity's up, isn't it? Pushing on.
It is, but so it is with Willstrop as well. Did I hear Mick Todd shout out then? Or was it another Ponty person?
No, he's here. You usually can see him, he's quite large.
Yeah. He usually just shouts Bo instead of Jim, can't be bothered to say Jimbo.
Energy cost, isn't it, these days?
He was one of the people that was devastated there wasn't a bar here.
I can see him, he's right behind James, his right shoulder. It is. I can tell because...
Oh dear. And out.
Oh.
3-1.
Yeah, I can tell because there's nobody else that big in the crowd.
Actually lost weight apparently. For those of you that don't know, Mick Todd is the owner of Pontefract Squash Club.
4-1. Thanks.
Well, good response from James.
Mick Todd also the manager of James Willstrop.
Although it's possibly the other way around, actually. I think James manages him. Squash, just stretching Joel out with that weighted shot. Lovely. Look at that. He got it. I thought Joel got it.
Oh, what a finish.
Wow.
It's an incredible squash there. I mean, it's amazing when somebody can use touch on a drop shot and the ball still rolls. I mean, properly rolls.
Just the quality, though. The ball was in the corner, wasn't it? Right
Yeah.
in the corner. And when you make the court big like that, regardless of who you are, you know, it's impossible to get. I mean, look at where the ball's landing.
Yeah, it's a real joy to see these two in action.
James, from a very young age, I mean, he started playing when he was 2. He's always thought about where the ball lands, as opposed to necessarily how you do it. The ball needs to land there, and then how do I do that?
Yeah, what pace? You talk about matching height with pace quite a lot, don't you?
Weight of shot is crucial.
Shot, and he's
all world-class players, yeah.
But particularly him, one of the best in the business.
And then technically, how to execute it. You know, and then if you need to change something to be able to do something, then do it. But work out where it lands. Where does it need to be? And that's something that Joel's learning later. I think from a young age, you know, it's important to, if you're going to develop young players, junior players, that they're learning these skills from a very early age. So it becomes second nature, and you develop in the physical motor skill along with the cognitive decision making, the shot selection, when to play something.
Using a lot of very big words there, Camps. You've been reading books again.
Can't read. But Joel, you know, like I say, he's come to that quite late. You know, been shown a few things, and he's learning that as he's developing as an older player. But that will be the difference now, if he can move up into the higher echelons, you know, the top 5 area.
Another big turnaround here, having lost the second game 11-love. Now 6-2 up in this third, Willstrop. That drop shot not quite accurate enough from Makin.
Yeah. I think Joel's wanting to push this on. He wants to push the pace on, but with that, you know, you do sacrifice accuracy sometimes. So that's where if he managed to do that, that will hurt James. You know, the pace, the intensity, but it still needs to be in good areas.
That was a long way round for John Makin.
Dodgy.
Makin convinced that, that ball was down.
It just didn't quite look right, did it?
No, Willstrop, very fair play. He would have stopped if he was sure that it was down.
Out.
That was in.
Yeah, I thought that was in.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I was unsure about that at the back of the court, but the ball was out there.
Well, that was in, and I thought that other one was dodgy.
Left
Well,
side,
maybe
3-6.
maybe a little bit of justice that Makin won that point. Like I say, Willstrop, both these players very fair. You can't always tell when you're on there.
Down.
Why did he try and boast that?
I just think, yeah,
It's easy from here though, isn't it?
too tight to boast, wasn't it? I mean, he's usually very good at just bringing those things off, but yeah, wrong decision that time.
It's good movement from Makin. He's under a little bit of pressure there. He's got himself back in comfortable.
Down.
And there's the trusty backhand drop shot, the long one from the back of the court that
7-4.
James Willstrop has played successfully 18 million times in his life.
Well, it makes the length more effective as well, because you have to cover the short ball. Joel has to move up to cover that. But then, you know, if you have to, if you know that's coming, but then the length comes in, it makes the length more effective.
He just loves this backhand side. Not that time though.
Mr. Willstrop.
Yeah, I think James was saying that
And out.
Joel was moving forward to cover the drop, but then the quality of the length was loose, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a good interaction there between James and Jason Foster, the referee. That's how it should be.
Quick.
Really quick, but good hands as well.
Yeah,
To
did
actually
well.
flick that straight he had a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
because he came in a slightly awkward position there. He's slightly open stance.
he actually made that look really easy. That
He
was
did.
really difficult from that position.
And
Great
it was
hands.
Important point as well for Makin.
Yeah, that will give him a lift.
Yes, legs. 6-7.
This is a big rally. Huge 2-point buffer or level to 7 all or 8-6. They're all big now, aren't they?
Yeah, and this game, this third is absolutely crucial. Both players playing well at the same time.
Referee, can you have a look at
It could be a stroke.
It
Parky.
could be, yeah. As
He was
John
onto it
Makin said
again.
there, there's no movement from Willstrop.
He read it, didn't he? James committed to the shot, but I feel that could be a stroke.
Well, John Makin's convinced it's a stroke. It wasn't the. It just wasn't. He just didn't clear enough, I don't think. Willstrop. I mean, the quality of the shot was quite good, so that's perhaps why they've given a let. It wasn't amazing, but it was perhaps good enough.
side 6-7.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be too many complaints from Joel, but it's good that he gets on with it, though, isn't he? He's good like that.
Yeah, both of these guys have excellent temperaments on the court. Incredibly competitive, and of course they will put their point across if they feel aggrieved, but do it in the right way.
Yeah. It's good work down the left wall from both. Nice switch. It's a clever change of the line though from James, and that's a big error.
Forcing again, isn't he? As you were saying, it's just that general feeling of pressure.
It was the right shot, wasn't it? It was on.
Yeah, against just about everyone else, he would have made that. So back to parity for Makin. Now a point in the lead with that error. Just 1 or 2 errors creeping in from Willstrop.
Clever.
He's got to batten down the hatches a little bit, James, for at least a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Just keep it out of the tin.
Yeah.
Get 1 or 2 long rallies in. Maybe Makin do some work if you can.
Yeah, James was trying to get out. Joel's trying to get in. I think just
yeah, it's just an innocent traffic issue.
Traffic problem. You're there very early, you've got to let him out of there. Okay. Left side, 8-7.
Can we have a conversation so we understand each other? If I let him come out of that ball and he hits the dimension, he'll give me a no let. That's what will happen, guaranteed. So I have to go into him quickly. If he hasn't cleared that ball, that's then a stroke.
Okay.
yeah, he hasn't cleared the shot. I think Joel's got a point, but this is an instance what I was talking about earlier, that Joel's won the last 2 rallies. He's got momentum. You know, he's got James probably doubting a little bit.
Talk? Yeah.
Just crack on and.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Yeah, a little bit of disruption now, so that gives James a chance to reset a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah, and I think he might have been slightly breathing a bit heavy, James Willstrop, because I mean the errors were coming in, weren't they?
Oh, it's tough game, isn't it? Probably a no let. So
he's got himself in a difficult situation. It's his loose play there, John Makin, that's created this. Look,
it was a long way from the ball.
Yeah, it's a loose shot originally, and James Willstrop tidies up.
But I do feel like that stoppage will have helped James. It's not always a physical thing. It's just enough time to rethink a little bit, and that distraction just helps.
That was an interesting movement from both players there, to James to clear and Makin to get round.
It's tight. Good squash.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful. Of course, there's all the
both, isn't it?
Great athleticism and the skill levels, but the chess on legs, as PJ would call it, is what we're seeing here.
This is hard stuff now.
Talking to PJ, there's absolutely nothing in it, or there wasn't. It's now
9-8.
1 point to the good for Makin. It's absolutely fascinating now, Camps.
Well, I just noticed Dave Evans on the front row there, who's coaching Joel today, and he was shaking his head, and I think what he was shaking his head at was Joel's width, allowing James that chance. So obviously he put it down, but more width from Joel. Better width. Yeah, he's going to review that.
On the yes let decision.
It doesn't do angry very well, does he?
No, it's quite amusing. He's just sort of checked himself after that reaction and apologised.
Probably heard Malk, James.
And obviously he's got his 2 boys watching.
I feel like a stroke would be a bit harsh. I know what he's saying.
Yeah, I think it's a let. I think this should remain a let ball. There's too much distance between. Yeah, that's a bit harsh. I mean, obviously Willstrop has worked well for him, but I think there was too much distance there between his racket and the ball.
Seems like different rules apply to different players, doesn't it? Situations like that, all do that, so then ball the other way around.
Nice thing to say about you, isn't it?
I didn't actually catch all of that, did you?
I think Joel just said something about different rules for different players. I don't think he's got a huge amount of respect for James. I don't think he's just heightened tensions on there, isn't it? Just emotions. 1-9 all. PJ, where are you? Cagey rally at the moment.
Got up.
Oh, it's a good finish.
That's one of his best attacking areas, I feel. The backhand volley, straight drop shot.
Yeah.
So 1 game ball for Joel Makin now.
Look at that. Technically played that,
Very
executed
good.
that really well, didn't he?
One that Willstrop would be proud of. So 1 chance here in the third for Makin. He's not going to take it in early in this rally, is he? He's going to wait for a really good opportunity if he gets one.
Yes, left.
I hope this doesn't descend because starting to be a few traffic issues now.
Review Makin on the yes, left decision.
I don't know why he's reviewing that. That will not get overturned.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit pointless, this one. It's just a simple let.
If you look where he's left it, look, and James has played it, it's just, I don't really, it's just one of those traffic things, isn't it?
It's bouncing off the back wall. It's not dying.
Yes, left decision upheld. Makin has no reviews remaining. 10-9, game ball.
Tight. Good work from Joel.
Oh wow.
Really?
Wow, just the precision from Willstrop and
Well, just backed himself,
the
didn't
bravery as well.
he? He got an opening and backed himself.
And the game ball down. So that's the game ball saved
that.
and into a tie break now.
Landed so short, didn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Open face, just came through it so well, didn't he? And
Well, you just come to expect it from Willstrop as well. He's just done it, made a career out of it.
Thank you. And out, 10-all. Each player has 1 review available.
well, this is tense.
Total parity yet again. 1-all and 10-all. Both got a review again. That drop shot.
Down. 11-10.
Unbelievable
Game
stuff. So Willstrop now has his own game ball in this tie break. Just finishing off the brushing work of the sweat from earlier.
It's tight. What?
Yes, left.
Yeah, I think that's the
Player
right
review
decision.
Willstrop on the
Yeah,
yes, left
yeah, it
decision.
was. I think he thought that.
It's worth reviewing, but
Yeah, Willstrop thought that he was right behind. It's a poor shot from Makin, but he's cleared. He's on the tee.
well, also his he had to get his racket from right to left
Yeah.
to be ready to play it. Look.
It had gone in front of Makin, hadn't it? The racket got caught.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that wrapped it round Joel.
Yeah.
By the time it
Yes,
came
left
round, he was
decision
clear, wasn't he?
upheld. Willstrop has no reviews remaining. 11-10, game ball.
I mean, looking at that back, I wouldn't have reviewed that actually, but I guess you do when it's on a tie break. Shots. Great shot that he plays right across the face of the front wall. Well, that moved funny.
Yeah, he's called it.
Called it.
Called it, John Makin. That's
very honest.
Very, very honest.
Very admirable, yeah.
It's good to see. Just carried it. It's like funny bounce in the back corner, and he wasn't able to read it correctly, John Makin, and didn't hit it
Mr.
cleanly.
Makin
So
has requested a new ball.
a new ball, which you're allowed to do after the third game on glass courts. It's just because white balls tend to to lose their energy a bit more than the traditional black ball, but it's James Willstrop that takes the third game in another tie-break, 12-10 in 22 minutes. He leads by 2-1.
Well, a huge third game, 22 minutes there, absolutely critical towards the end. High-level squash from both, and particularly after what we thought was perhaps a scare to James's body at the end of the second that he lost very quickly in 4 minutes. That was a great third game from both players. Joel really having to work extremely hard. Some of the winning shots from James, particularly on the backhand drop, was incredible, really. Brilliant squash, and all sets up for a real exciting finale. So James now leads 2-1.
Seconds. Time. Mr. Makin has requested a new ball, which is entitled to do after the third game. The players will now have some time to warm up the ball. Willstrop leads 2-1. Willstrop to serve. Lovell.
Well, obviously they just had to have a second knock-up, warm-up, whatever you want to call it, with the new ball. Just getting it warm. So, Camps, why do you think? I mean, we know why players ask for a new ball in terms of it's got a bit more energy in it, hasn't it? But why would that be advantageous to Joel?
Yeah, the rubber ball dies off, as we know, but I mean, he just simply needs more heat in it. He's a physical player. Yeah, he's got the movement.
So it's going to fly through a bit more, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll fly through a little bit quicker. So James, probably won't be able to stretch the court out quite as much. Early part of the first game to 10-4. When the ball's hotter and livelier, it's probably a bit hard. It is harder, no doubt, to stretch things out. So for the racket player like James, who wants to make the court as long as possible, it's harder to do that with a new ball.
Yes, Lex.
That's an interesting picture. Both of them just standing, staring at the ball on the floor.
Or James looking at where it was landing, which he always does.
Yeah.
Has those mental targets, just checking in with it. But no, look, Joel. This right now, 49 minutes. This is only just tickling him. It's not. He's got plenty in the tank. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's child's play for him, isn't it? He'll be here till 9, 10 o'clock tonight, playing at this speed.
Yeah, a bit like you in the old days, Parker.
I take that as a really, really high praise, comparing me to him.
Now, I don't know if you spotted that, but there was a little bit of a collapse on James when he went in. in the movement, if you look at this.
Yeah, he wasn't quite as balanced as he usually is.
Yeah, and that's the, at 36, the volume's not in there, the training. So once you get into that kind of hour mark, I mean, that was a brutal, for him, that was a brutal, well, for anyone, I mean, that was a hard third game, 22 minutes.
Again, you see the trusty long backhand drop shot going in from Willstrop.
I mean, it's handy that he's actually got, for him, it's handy that he's got a 2-love lead here because, if they do have some difficult rallies, at least he's got the scoreboard in his favour at the moment. You do sometimes come out after a hard game feeling a little bit leggy with the lactate and so on, so you just need to better run it off a bit and clear it, which is probably what James needs right now. He'll certainly be feeling it a lot more than Joel is.
Yeah, that was a bit laboured, that movement.
Yeah, a little bit, but he's still getting the ball back.
Of course, yeah, and he's such a controller in general.
He's clever,
and he's tough as well. He's going to keep fighting.
Yeah, again a bit late onto that. Yeah, he saw he was opting for the height, which I think is good at this stage. Try and pick his shots off and hit his areas, but this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard for him.
Yeah, 11 years between these two. Oh, nice finish. It's actually the age gap between myself and James, and I used to feel that difference when I played him.
Yeah. And I think for me now, with Joel, I'll be looking to tighten the screw as opposed to try and just really ramp it up.
Yeah.
There's a danger with James if you overdo it and you try, and stretch him out too much and rip the ball around him and get the pace right up, that you just lose that control and
you get caught out and
then
he'll counter you somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it's a bit scrappy and wild.
3-2.
So it's
I think for Joel, it's keeping it simple. It's taking it early and keeping the pace high in terms of taking it early, not necessarily hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, just
straightening up and just taking in the drops and trying to get Willstrop moving.
Absolutely.
Like there, possibly a bit shorter if possible.
Yeah, he needs to be very alert, very aware, not take anything for granted. I know James has got the lead here, but this won't phase Joel too much. He'll.
It's only slender, but it's only 1 point, isn't it?
But I mean, in games.
I see, yeah.
But again, a little bit laboured. But he's used to this. James has played. He's been playing. He's built his career around other players being a lot more physical. So I remember when he first beat Ricketts in Bermuda when he was about 17, 18, and Ricketts was seeded 2, top player. And James came through qualifying and beat him, and he managed to beat him from 2-love down. And he spent most of the match doing this.
Also remember him beating Palmer in TOC when he was 18, when James was 18, and I think it's one of his first big wins. Probably similar time to when he beat Ricketts.
Yeah.
Another incredibly physical player.
Yeah.
The Marine.
Yeah. This is tough now for James. Look, Joel, I think he's been very sensible. From 2-love down, he's not panicked. He's just gone about his way, his business. And like
We're
you
in
said,
the real heart of the match now, aren't we? And Makin knows that he's just got to hang tough, not do anything stupid. He knows that, he always knows about his considerable strength and fitness.
4-3.
And he's just got to show his real mental toughness now in this fourth game. Not by doing that.
Well, that's a silly area, isn't it? Lack of concentration, perhaps. I mean, that will give James a little bit of hope.
And just actually went right on the mic, that shot.
Again, really clever from James. The ball's out loose, and as I was saying yesterday, he's probably it's not something you really acknowledge with James, but he's very clever at knowing when to suddenly just inject, when to take the pace off and put the drops in, obviously, but when to really launch into something like that.
Yeah, pounce on the ball.
Yeah, he saw the opening and bang, it's gone, the ball's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, any young player. I mean, he's opened up a 2-point buff here, Parky, look.
Yeah, he doesn't let you get into much of a rhythm, James. And sometimes when you feel like you're in a rhythm, he does exactly what you just said and pounces on it.
Yes, left. And unsure over there on the out. 6-4, right side. Mr. Willstrop serving. Yes, left. Right side.
You can hear Makin in the background there. He actually said, "Come on, James," which is unusual. He's feeling quite energetic.
Lack of beer.
Again, a clever work from James. He's just trying to take a little bit of heat out of the ball, using a bit of height.
There we have it again. The long straight drop from the back of the court. Willstrop's stock in trade. I mean, it's just incredible how consistent he is with that shot.
Well, from gone looking like he was, just having a little moment physically, wasn't he? I think that error at 4-3 to Joel was just giving him a bit of impetus, hasn't it? Just renewed kind of.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Needed that one. Really needed that one, but yeah, I think he's making a bit of a push now. Willstrop, seeing the finishing line, hoping of course that he can finish it in this game.
It's good.
Great shot.
Did you get that?
It's a little bit dodgy, but couldn't be sure.
Well, that could be a stroke.
Stroke to Willstrop. Video referee, can you please?
I do think he got this, but I didn't really see a. We'll see from the replay.
We're checking with the video referee now. Just wait.
It's that backhand stun that he played. A great little shot, isn't it? You know, it's not really a kill, it's not a drop. It's just something that goes in quickly, get the racket through.
Well, I thought it was going to be a winner, but let's see.
But it just catches players, doesn't it? Look, it just shocked James more than anything.
Here it comes.
I thought he got it.
He just flicked his racket through that. I mean, it wasn't very clean, but I think he may have got it. Yeah, did he?
See?
I'm not sure.
Is that going to be one of those inconclusive ones?
Yeah, I'm not too sure now. Looked like he maybe made contact with it just as it was bouncing twice. I'm not really sure. Well, a video referee short, and that's the important opinion. Should have gone cross-court drop there, Makin.
No left. Comes straight back out. There's a line to the left. Player review Willstrop.
Yeah, we'll review that. Very tight though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was going back a bit, wasn't it? Again, it was a faster kind of volley for Makin, which Willstrop wasn't expecting. He was going forward.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
And also, it stayed tight, didn't it? It just caught the nick and stayed tight. So yeah, I think that's a good upholding.
Yeah.
And out 6-8.
Right, huge rally coming up, Parky.
Feeling the tension here, Camps.
Well, it's been a great final, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's what we expected really, and like that match in New York, it's tough. Both guys giving it absolutely everything, as you'd expect.
James just coming in with his differences again. Very subtle, a little bit of hold off the back wall and then different paces all the time. Just trying to not allow Joel to really settle and read him, just mask his intentions and just create that kind of element of doubt all the time. Even if it's very like there, just took his movement very slightly, but it's enough sometimes just to stop the physical player in their tracks.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, isn't it?
Down.
Ooh,
It's a huge error.
rare as hen's teeth, that one.
7-8.
He won't dwell on it though. If the opening's there again, it'll be going straight back in there.
Good
Great
injection
width.
of pace.
Yeah, and
from
the width,
Makin.
got the width again, and again the width.
Still a few traffic issues, but both players now trying to get round each other.
It's good
if
pressure
possible.
from Joel.
Yeah, Joel Makin keeping the pace really high now, trying not to do anything stupid.
Down.
Oh,
Hand out. 9-7.
it's a good squeeze from Willstrop. Long
Right.
rally there, just cutting down on the ball and fading it into the sidewall. It's like a half kill, isn't it? Just
Well,
keeping it tight.
He's always able to find winners, isn't he? And that's the important thing at this level. You've got to be able to hit winners.
Just 2 points away, Willstrop from another title here.
It's a great length.
Just clipping the sidewall on that straight one.
He spends years and years, spent years and years at Pontefract hitting straight lines, and that's what we're looking for. Not clipping the sidewall, run it straight. It's a sufferfest, Parky. He knows how to suffer though, does James. Give him that.
It's just a question of who's going to blink first, really, here. Crowd, Anna's absolutely enthralled. He's got a chance, Joel Makin.
Oh,
What a
great
put
finish,
away,
great
that is
finish.
amazing. What a rally, and what a finish from Joel Makin. That's big time squash, real composure under pressure in terms of the scoreline. And there is so much margin for error. It just got exactly the right angle there.
Beautiful shot,
Oh.
beautiful finish, and you know the reaction that you had just shows it all, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
huge.
yeah. It's good to see. That's what sport's all about. So,
Oh.
point was so important.
It's a fantastic pickup though. And he will be doing this till 9 o'clock at night. You're right.
Joel Makin aiming to be the first Welshman ever to win the British Nationals. We've had, of course, a Welsh lady do it last year. Tesney Evans achieved that feat.
Oh, this is great squash. What a rally. Tough. Just having that clarity, isn't it? When you're so tired, lack of oxygen to the brain.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Straight back into the volleying area, though, of Willstrop.
Somehow managed to get that on the side wall still, though.
Down.
He's
Oh, he's
missed
made
it.
the error.
His favourite shot as well. There's the fist pump
9-all.
from Joel Makin. He's on it now. This is so crucial. You just saw James's girlfriend Vanessa having a little look at Malcolm, his father and coach. Wonder how they must be feeling.
Well, and a huge intake of breath from James as he walked to the front wall there.
I'm not surprised. So back to parity in this game. Brilliant stuff from both players, but particularly Makin to get back to this point.
And it's good to see Joel. Oh,
wow! He took himself completely out of position there. I'm not sure. It wasn't the most deceptive shot I've ever seen Willstrop play, but he was.
Well, it's just tight and short.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just going to say it's just impressive as well. I mean, look how Joel's taking things on at this stage.
It's flying off in the other direction here on a straight drop. Look at that. He's almost under the right service box.
Well, he was deep, wasn't he? If you look where he moved from, he was quite deep in the court. It was a long distance to cover, especially when it's so short. Not sure if he read that,
That's what I mean.
Thank
yeah,
you.
but I didn't feel like it was the most deceptive shot.
No.
Hand out.
I think maybe just again the tension of the whole situation.
Ball.
So one match ball here for James Willstrop.
Well, he's been here many times. Joel trying to ramp the pace up, look. He's got the line wrong.
Yes, let. Player review Makin on the yes, let decision.
Okay, it's the half court ball. I don't know why he's going between strokes and that.
Just having a little mumble there, Joel Makin. He's getting a bit frustrated. Yeah,
I think you've just got to go round the back and play that, haven't you? I don't think they'll overturn that. That's my feeling, but could be wrong.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm glad that was was upheld, because that would have been an awful way to finish a great match, a great final. So another chance for Willstrop to convert here. Oh, it's got to be a hospital pass.
What do you think? Stroke, no let?
It's
not
at least
a stroke, is it?
It's at least a let. Potentially, I mean, I've seen strokes given this week. But
Distance
it's at
to
least
the ball,
a let. It's not.
short.
It's not a no let. That's for sure. It's at least a let. I mean, how does he get through? There's no clearance from Willstrop, but it's tight, isn't it? The quality of shot is good. That's why I would err towards a let ball.
I'm going to sit on the fence on this one.
What? Not say anything.
I'm not saying anything.
Get off that fence.
I've got splinters parking.
I'm going with let ball. I'm going to see it again, it seems.
He was up on it quick.
Yes, let.
It was tight though, wasn't it? I think if it had been any looser than that, it was a stroke. That's the difference. Just a millimetre or an inch off the side wall, it would have been a stroke.
Joel asking James to get a bit of heat back in it. Come on, let's hit it around a bit, get some more heat in the ball.
James quite happy to not do that. Oh, what a whip, what a dig. Joel Makin fighting for his life here. That's a great length. Willstrop injecting some of his own pace.
Well, I thought he would have gone for the finish, Had a couple of chances there.
Didn't quite get the nick there, Makin. Oh, he's missed it. He's got back into a tie-break situation, Makin. Oh, this match is so tense. Crowd absolutely lapping it up.
I think he allowed Joel back into the rally. He had a couple of openings to finish. And I'm not
normally
saying
he would, wouldn't he?
Well, you got to take those chances. He opted for pace, didn't he? Power. He'll run those down.
Oh dear.
11-10.
And that's quick. He'd be happy with that, Makin, because he's quickly found his own way to his own game ball.
Well, he just snatched that a little bit. Unusual for him.
left.
I'm not even arguing now.
11-10. Game ball.
Oh, well, that was
Attendant, please.
a clever shot from Willstrop. He knew exactly where Makin was, so he played a slightly longer drop shot.
Yeah,
and
yeah, that was very clever.
Great awareness.
Yeah, just faded it in, didn't he? He didn't go for the short, accurate kind of.
It's almost half court, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, very clever.
Knew exactly where Makin was.
Well, this has been such a quality affair, hasn't it, Parky?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Fascinating to watch the contrast in styles. Both of them have one thing in common, and that's unbelievable determination.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tight from Joel.
Both players opting for a bit of a backhand channel game, and the
for
errors come from the racket of Makin. Just feeling like he had to go for something. Another match ball, another championship ball for Willstrop. Can he convert and win his third British national title?
It's a great volley down the line. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is phenomenal from Makin.
12-all.
Saving another match ball. Championship ball.
Great technique.
Look how straight it went.
Yeah, great technique. Open face. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant from Willstrop. Again, another chance. There's the winner that you talk about, the quick winners that he's capable of.
Well, it's awareness, isn't it? You know, just incredible.
Oh, I think he got it.
Got it.
He did get it. That's
14-12.
tight. Oh, wow.
What a match. Wow.
What a way to go out. That is incredible. There you see the joy from James Willstrop in front of his two sons, his father, his girlfriend. Absolutely delighted. Fully deserved. James Willstrop, I feel, has been the best player this week, and he's proved it. Joel Makin put up an unbelievable fight there. It was a great game to watch. The contrast in styles is amazing. We'll hope James Willstrop stays around for at least another year or two to see this rivalry continue. Joel Makin distraught there, but he gave it everything he had. James Willstrop though just a little bit too good, and where it mattered at the end, producing the quality.
Huge achievement.
He gave everything on this court today. He's a very proud Welshman. Please show your appreciation, Joel Makin. James, I don't think there can be a question that could actually be good enough to ask you on this occasion. So in your words, please sum up that match and what it means to you.
Well, I mean, I think we all talk about it's a very special tournament for us, and the British Nationals has always been a great atmosphere. It's a home tournament, it's got prestige and it's got history, and some of the greats of the world game have played it. And yeah, I mean, in the context to play and compete with, firstly, someone like Joel, but then to actually sneak in there at the end. I mean, you know, he's one of the world's top players right now, and physically he's incredibly hard to break down. You just have to push every rally, and I think the bagel in the second just sort of sums it up. That's how hard it is to win a rally. You've literally got to throw everything mentally and physically into it, and once I got 6-1 behind, it's just almost nigh on impossible. 6-love even, but yeah, I mean, just not sure I was able to do it really, but great to be able to compete at that level and then win.
And what is it that gives that self-belief? Is it the hours of work with all the people that have supported you, and is it this, or is it just the fact that you've come so close to not being able to continue in this game and you're just trying to squeeze every last drop out of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that psychologically you've had that little near miss with injury, and you have a lease of life, there's no question, and it makes you sort of more relaxed, and therefore that probably does have a sort of impact on the whole of your nervous system and everything going on. You're just a relaxed person, and if you're happy and you can just relax on there. I've been able to do that in the last few years, and I was totally relaxed this week. Not many sort of expectations. Joel's right up there. He's gone in for every event, and he's really gone in for World Series events at the moment. So there's not a lot for me to lose, and it's just a good position to be in. So if you can find that relaxation, it's not easy to find, but once you can get it, it's a good state to be in, and then you can produce performances.
You've talked about this tournament. You've talked about, the way that some of the great players have contested these championships and how much it's been a priority for them. You've obviously shared a lot of highs, and you've also shared a lot of disappointments at this tournament over the 22 years that you've been here. To be able to come here at the stage in your career and produce that performance, does it make it even more extra special?
Well, I mean, it's special at any time, isn't it? There's no time when winning a national title against a field like this of just great players. Any time to win that is good. But yeah, I mean, I just try to. I've forgotten what the question was because I don't know what I'm saying.
I think what we'll do, we'll let you go away, compose yourself, and I'm sure when you come back for the presentations, it'll be your opportunity to say a few thank yous to the people that have put you on this court here. Ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation. James Willstrop.
Well, what an incredible performance that was from James Willstrop, 3 times national champion now, as he takes out Joel Makin, the higher ranked player, the number 1 seed, 12-10, love 11, that bagel in the second, 12-10, 14-12 in the 4th game in 77 minutes. It was a fantastic final between these 2 great athletes, and I'm sure Joel Makin will pick up this title one day, but it's James Willstrop who's the British national men's champion 2020. I mean, we keep talking about the contrast. We used to talk about it with Willstrop and Nick Matthew, and now it's Willstrop against this immense talent from Wales, Joel Makin. And it's a similar kind of contrast. You've got the real strength. He's a bit of a beast of fitness, but he's improving his short game. You see there some of the touch, especially on the backhand volleys from Joel Makin. Backhand volley drop shots, he's really improved in that area. He's dangerous. James Willstrop, his squash IQ is second to none. He's so clever. Always, well, not always, but often finds a way to win in the most difficult situations. He's 36 years of age. He won his 3rd national title. It's an unbelievable achievement. Joel Makin disappointed, but later on he can be proud of himself when he's got over the disappointment. And then we see the 2 winners today. Sarah Jane Perry coming through 3-love against young Jasmine Hutton, who will have many more chances in the future. She did herself proud too. And Joel Makin coming up second best today against an inspired James Willstrop this week, who's been talking about his relaxed state. So James Willstrop and Sarah Jane Perry, national champions 2020.
2020 AJ Bell, British national champion, Sarah Jane Perry. SJ, if you wouldn't mind just joining me for a few moments. Now you've had time to reflect, I'm sure you'd like to say a few thank yous to your sponsors and everyone who's made this possible.
Yeah, there's some really big thank yous that I need to make. Firstly, to England Squash for hosting the event again, Nottingham University and the Park for providing some fantastic venues, to all the people that support me at home, my friends and family, some of them here today, some of them couldn't be, my coach, Rob Owen, also Jazz's coach too, and my sponsors, Marcus Hayes, Ollie Fincher, all those kind of people as well. Absolutely, you know, couldn't be possible without all those people. And also just thank you to the referees for their hard work, particularly when they're refereeing me. And to everyone in the crowd, thanks for coming out. I mean, I didn't want to drive here today, it was pretty horrible. So thank you all for coming out and making it a great atmosphere. And yeah, I just hope you had a good time, and I enjoyed watching the end of that men's match there. So I hope you had a good day out.
Well, we're certainly glad that you did decide to travel here. Ladies and gentlemen, our champion, Sarah Jane Perry. And now to the men's presentation. Please welcome onto court from Wales, Joel Makin. And our 2020 AJ Bell British National Men's Champion, 4 times national champion, James Willstrop. James, no more questions, just an opportunity for you to say a few thank yous and close a wonderful British Open, British Championships this year.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, do you want to hold it? Or yeah. I mean, I'm obviously thrilled to win this. It was a good game of squash, and I know Joel will be disappointed. I've been there plenty of times, and I enjoy the game. And as Sarah said, great atmosphere in here today. So just to point that out firstly. I think, Paul, thank you to you, to everyone at England Squash for putting this on, for running the event. I'm reiterating what Sarah said, but we are grateful, and it's a big title. It needs to stay there. It needs to be a big championship, and we're proud to play it. Thank you on a personal note. Just want to say a little thank you to the people on my shirt, Unsquashable, AJ Bell, and my physio, Alison Rose. Vanessa, lovely to see you. Thanks for being here today with me. It means so much. Malcolm, what would I do without you? You're a brilliant coach. It's lovely to be able to enjoy this together, so thank you for everything. David, I know, thanks. Eternally grateful. Mick, I've seen. I'm not going to go through everyone, but there's plenty have come here from Pontefract, but I've seen Ian and Mel, Mick, Steve, Terry. I know Masuma's here as well with a few others, so it's great to have that Pontefract support. Means such an incredible amount, really, and I think as I get later into my career, it's that sort of thing that strives you to push to enjoy it with those people who are supportive of you and help you, and thanks to my 2 boys for being here as well. As Sarah said, thank you to the referees, thank you to everyone who's organised, Judy, all the volunteers who are just an absolute pleasure to work with. And I think that may have covered it all, Paul. I'm gushing with gratefulness here, but it's. I feel you know, thank you all of you for making this a very special occasion for me and the people who've helped me.
And as both players have made reference to, it's obviously, you know, been very challenging weather, and I know it's been very difficult for a lot of, you know, spectators to make it here today. It's fantastic to have a full house, and I think the biggest thank you goes to all of you spectators that have come here, braved the elements, and made this such a fitting championships. So thank you very much. We hope you've enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you next year. Please drive safely, and we look forward to seeing you at future British National Championships. Thank you very much.